This video, I want to talk about having some rhythm with your hands as the pitcher gets set. So as a hitter, when you pick up the pitcher, sitting in the batter's box, you're waiting for the pitcher to get set. And once he gets set and your hands are ready, at this point here in time, at this point in time, what I want you to do is to have a little bit of rhythm. So it could be a circular motion, it could be a back and forth motion, but you need to have some rhythm in order to get your hands started to get that load in a good spot. If your hands are still, then you become a little bit too robotic. And what happens is you get here, you load, stop, and then you go. And that slows down your swing, your bat path, and your bat speed. So, in my experience, the best thing to do is when you get set, is have your hands in a position somewhere around your face, somewhere around here, not too far back. Have a little rhythm, and then once the pitcher gets set and he separates his hands, you want to do then is start your load. So nowadays, a lot of people have winter programs or they work out indoors. One of the main things that I want you to focus on is when to load at different stations. So there's loading in games where the pitcher's on the mound. There's loading when somebody's throwing you soft toss. There's loading when somebody's throwing to batting practice overhand. And the load is different for each one. So what I want you to get used to is when to load at the proper time for each station. The load is imperative for success in hitting. When you're sitting here in the batter's box, you're waiting for the pitcher to get set, you're gonna have your hands in a rhythm. You're gonna have your hands set somewhere around here in this area near your the back of your head or wherever you're comfortable with. You're gonna have a little rhythm with your hands. And once the pitcher sets and he separates his hands, that when he gets in this position right about here, that's where I suggest you take your load. So all the load is taking your hands from your set position back. So you have rhythm to bring your hands forward, throw your hands when the ball's coming in. Now, the timing of your load could be different for everybody. If the pitcher's throwing really hard, sometimes you want to get your load started when he gets down here and separates. So if the pitcher's throwing a little harder or a little softer, sometimes you want to wait until he gets his arm back to load. But for me, I'd like to load at the same time every time, no matter how hard the pitcher threw or how soft he threw. So for me, I'm in set position here, and I load when the pitcher separates his hands, then I'm ready to go. So the load is just simply in here, in set position, bring your hands back. So you're ready to throw your hands forward once the ball comes in. So for instance, if somebody's throwing to you from the pitching machine, you want to be loading as the pitcher, whoever's throwing you the ball, who are loading the ball for you. You want to load as that person who's loading the pitching machine. So concentrating again on the load, when you should load. When somebody's here feeding you balls for batting practice, generally the person feeding you the machine is going to show you the ball. So whoever's feeding you the ball, hands up here, gets their hand in a higher position, they're showing you the ball. As soon as they start moving their hands down, that's when you should get back in your load. If you wait until that ball is being dropped into the pitching machine, which I see a lot of, it's too late. That ball's going to be on top of you, and you'll probably swing through it, or it'll be by you before you know it. Now, if somebody's sitting on a bucket with the L screen and they're flipping you balls, the load is different. It's not the same as when they're loading a pitching machine or if they're loading as they're throwing in a live game. So if somebody's sitting on a bucket and they're flipping you balls, you want to load as soon as they separate their hands. They'll grab their ball, and as soon as they separate their hands there, you want to load. When you're loading with throwing soft toss, the pitcher, whoever's throwing you the soft toss, as soon as they separate their hands or their hands get right about here, this is when you want to load. If you wait till their hand starts coming forward and they're releasing the ball, it's too late. You're going to be standing a short distance away, and that ball's going to be by you, or you're going to rush to get to the baseball, and you're going to struggle hitting the ball consistently. So your timing for your load is in soft toss is when the pitcher separates his hand and gets right about here, anywhere in here. If you wait till here, you're probably going to be too late. If they're yell screen is set back a little more, and now they're throwing you a little bit of live batting practice, then it's almost like a game situation. Once the pitcher separates his hands, you get a little low. That's for live BP. If he's throwing BP really hard, you might want to move. So you might want to do your load as soon as like literally as soon as he moves his hand. If he's flipping a little softer, you might want to take your time with your load, or load a little bit later when the arm gets over here. So those are a couple tips that might help you with hitting batting practice indoors, where you can get your time down constantly and consistently. Tracking the baseball is done numerous amount of ways, but what I like to teach is to track the baseball not only with your eyes, but with your front hip. So what's important here is that you have consistency when you're tracking the baseball. So a lot of times I see hitters not tracking the baseball properly, not following the baseball into the hitting zone, because that's what tracking the baseball is. And they're in a still position, and what happens is the first thing when they trigger, when they move their hands forward, they end up flying open. They end up getting rid of their hips too early, their shoulder too early, and that takes their head with them. Tracking the baseball allows you to stay on that baseball, following it in right into the hitting zone. So once that ball is thrown, whether it's a pitching machine, through an L screen, or in a live game, the first thing you should do is, once the ball is released from the pitcher's hand, is follow that baseball in with your front hip. So if you're in this, and you're in your stance, you're ready to hit, and the pitcher separates his hands, and he starts coming forward, his hand gets here, and the ball releases out of his hand. What I want you to do is follow that baseball in with your front hip. So it'll look something like this. Pitcher's winding up, he's releasing the ball, boom. Following the ball in with my front hand, boom. Keeps my head tracking the baseball, following the baseball in, and now I can follow that baseball in with my eyes. That's the second way you track the baseball. First with your hip out of the pitcher's hand, and then follow the baseball in with your eyes. So it looks something like this. Follow in, releasing the ball, follow the ball in with your hip, track the baseball with your eyes, put your swing on there, keep your head down at contact. So again, tracking the baseball just means that you're going to follow the ball in. A lot of people follow it in with their head, but they get a lot of head movement. So by tracking the ball with your hip, you're following that baseball into the hitting zone, keeping your head still. Now all you have to do is follow the ball in with your eyes, and you'll be able to see the ball in all three hitting zones in the middle of the way. And that'll help you hit the ball harder and more successful. You'll make more contact, you'll have less swing and misses, and you'll become more of a consistent hitter. The trigger is simply, once you've loaded and you're ready in your launch position, it's simply when your hands start coming forward to the baseball. It's that simple. But you need to be in rhythm when you're ready to throw your hands, when you need to trigger. So finding your starting position with your hands, combining it with your load, combining it with your tracking the baseball. Your trigger is simply when you're going to fire the baseball bat. And that's one of the most important things when you're hitting, is to have your hands back in the launch position so you can trigger on a consistent basis. Stride is the next topic I wanted to hit. I really, it's a broad subject, and people stride differently. Some people have no stride. Some people have a long stride. Some people stand straight up, have long stride. Some people stride and they stride out a little bit. Some guys have a closed stance, but the stride needs to happen consistently at one time. Once you've gotten your position, you've gotten your rhythm, gotten your load. Now, when you're in this position, as the ball's traveling to the base, to the plate, you want to get your stride in. So your stride needs to happen when the pitcher's arm is at the highest spot. Pitcher's arm reaches the highest spot, you start tracking the baseball and striding. Once the ball is halfway to the plate, you take that's when you want your front foot to get down. If you wait until the ball's on top of you, close to the plate, your stride's going to be too late. So you want to be able to track the baseball into the halfway to the plate, and that's when your stride happens. So it's going to look like something like this. You get here, you're going to load, you're going to pick up your front foot, stride as the ball's to halfway to the plate, your front foot gets down, and now you're ready to hit.